Hi, everybody. Thanks for logging in. We're going to start now. So my name is Kathy LeBlanc. I'm the Customer Success Manager here at LinkedIn. Beside me here is Julie Fodor as well. She is a Relationship Manager in the Sales Navigator space. And we're both working on the search and staffing space. So definitely understand your business and been working with clients such as yourself for a few years now. So in terms of what we really want to get through today, our agenda is as follows. So what we're going to do is talk about what is social selling, right? So I'll go through the definition, what that means to you, and then we're really going to jump into the tool and some practical uses for you. So talking about research, so steps before engaging with your prospect. We'll talk about when you are engaging, why, when, and how. So what are some of the appropriate things to do, how to save time, and do it more accurately. Like we really want that prospect to turn into a client. Like that's our goal, so how do we do that? And then the last piece of it is really just measuring value. So we'll get into all of that shortly today. We do have a chat panel, so if you do have any questions, please chat them in, and we'll try to get to many questions as possible during the presentation, and then at the end, we'll definitely save some time as well. This shouldn't be more than 30 minutes of content, so if you do have any questions, feel free to chat them in. And we will be sending out the recording after this presentation. So really to start off, we're really talking about the buyer's process. So you may have seen this information before, always a good refresher. So 5.4 people are now involved in the average B2B buying decision. So what does that mean? More influencers. And what we want to talk about is how you're going to get to all of these influencers, decision makers, gatekeepers, etc. Now the big stat here is the 75%. So 75% of B2B buyers now use social media to be informed on vendors. And LinkedIn is one of the top places where your prospects and clients are going. So really want to think about that in terms of your profile, in terms of what's out there already. Like think about it today. What's on your profile today that's speaking to people that you might not know that are looking, right? So think about that. And then the last piece is just that the 90% of decision makers say they never respond to a cold outreach, okay? So enter in social selling. So at a really high level, it's finding the right people and companies, relating to them with key updates and insights, and then engaging with your prospects and customers. So quite simply, social selling is using social media to reach out and prospect for your clients. So here's a really simple framework that you guys can use. So one is create a professional brand. LinkedIn is obviously a great place to start with that. We're not going to talk too much about branding. If you do have more questions about that, reach out to your customer success manager and we'll be able to walk you through that. What Julie is going to highlight today is really find the right people and engage with insights. Excuse me. So when we're talking about social selling, there's like a few factors that I just want to kind of remind you of while Julie's going through the demo. So you really want to prospect efficiently with a powerful search and research capabilities. There's so much information on both the companies you're prospecting as well as the people. So these people, you know, they all have LinkedIn profiles. Are you reading what they're putting on there and putting that into your outreach? As simple as that. And I can tell you, working with a lot of clients, not everybody does this. So for those of you who are already doing it, amazing. For those of you who've just started, we really want to kickstart that and get you through that and make it more efficient. Another point is really discovering and sharing valuable information to really maintain that relationship. So again, whether you're getting that from LinkedIn or other industry resources or materials, you really want to share that insight and what matters to them. And you'll know by whether you're doing discovery or looking at their profiles, looking at their companies, what is important to them. And the last piece is really just to remember to expand your network and to reach prospects and those that can introduce you to other prospects. So really quickly too, this is just a social selling index score. If you look at that link at the very bottom, you can click on it and just really shows you at a high level, you know, where your profiles at? Are you reaching the right people? Are you engaging with them insights? And are you really building those relationships? So just a quick touch point in terms of gauging yourself. Okay, great, and let's introduce Julie, and she'll jump right into the demo.
All right, thank you so much, Kathy. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the live demonstration. So first, I'm going to just give you a little bit of background about why we created Sales Navigator. So when we're on our LinkedIn.com page right now, and when we think of LinkedIn.com, you know, it's really a wonderful place to brand yourself, both professionally and personally. It's a great way to find information on what's going on and what's important to people. But when you're trying to use LinkedIn in a sales capacity, like you folks are trying to do, it becomes very noisy and very clouded with the information that gets served to you. And this is a lot of the feedback that we had heard from our customers previously, that they're trying to use LinkedIn to find the right people and engage with them, but it just got a little bit overwhelming on LinkedIn. So we take a look at my LinkedIn.com page, I can go through this news feed over here, and there's a ton of great information. But what I'm finding is I'm finding colleagues posting information, I'm getting sponsored updates served to me, I can see a previous colleague of mine posting information. So although this is all fun and great to read, it's not necessarily moving the needle for my specific book of business. And if anyone is anything like myself, after you start scrolling, you start clicking into things, and then 2 hours goes by and you've gone down, you know, a LinkedIn rabbit hole, and you're reading an article about the top 30 things to know before you turn 30 or something along those lines. So really, to prevent anyone from going down that rabbit hole and making sure that they're staying very targeted and very customized in their approach on LinkedIn, we've created Sales Navigator. So what Sales Navigator is going to allow you to do is strip away the noise that you're seeing through your news feed and have your experience be very specific and very customized to you as a sales professional. So everyone that's going to populate in your news feed, every company that's going to populate, is going to populate because you've elected to stay informed on them. So from LinkedIn.com, the way that you are all going to access Sales Navigator is by hovering over your thumbnail photo on the upper right-hand side, clicking into Go to Sales Navigator, and then it's going to take you to a separate tab within your internet browser. So please note, you'll have your LinkedIn.com tab, and you also are going to have your Sales Navigator tab as well. When you go to Sales Navigator, it's going to look very similar to LinkedIn.com. You have the same look and feel. You have your news feed over here. It's the same way that you would use LinkedIn, but the biggest difference is everything that's being surfaced here is being surfaced because you have chosen to stay informed on this specific company or an individual within this specific company. So this essentially is your Wall Street Journal. This is where you should be going every single morning to stay informed on your particular book of business. So whether you're taking a train to work, you should pull it up on your mobile phone, and you should go through this news feed to identify information or certain talking points so you can pick up the phone and call your client or call a prospect and have a purposeful or meaningful reason to reach out. So for example, what I would do every single morning is come into this news feed over here, scroll down. I can see that Richard recently shared an article. LinkedIn is prompting me to say create a connection by letting Richard know I read this. And what I would probably do is send Richard an email saying, hi Richard, recently saw that you posted an update on LinkedIn. Great read, would love to connect to you about X, Y, and Z. So how do we go ahead and create this experience? How do we make sure that everything on our newsfeed is going to be very specific and very targeted to you as a salesperson? The way to do so is to start by clicking on Lead Builder. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to make sure everyone can see me. So Lead Builder is where you're going to go and slice and dice the information to make it specific to you. So this is your search engine. We have over 400 million people on the LinkedIn network today. You obviously don't want to have to sift through all of those individuals, so the way that you're going to do that is create a very targeted search specific to your book of business. So let's say, for example, you're trying to target all of the decision makers within like the information technology industry. So, but specifically you want the CTO or the CIO or possibly even the CEO. So you'll notice here that we have a lot of different filters that you can use to target a specific group of people. But what I would suggest for everyone in the room is to make it very personal and descriptive to the titles that you're trying to identify. So the way that you would do that is by searching for those exact titles in the current title box on the upper right-hand side. So if you're searching specifically for the Chief Technology Officer, you can go ahead and write that out, or maybe you simply just want to refer to it as the CTO, you can do that as well, or perhaps you're also looking for the Chief Information Officer, or you also want the CEO. So LinkedIn is going to scrape every single person's profile on the network to see who has identified themselves as any of these current titles. And you can see on the bottom right-hand side over here, we have close to 300 million people who has that currently as their title today. But if you're only searching for people within information technology or internet, you can scroll down over here to the industry and again make it very specific to yourself. So let's do internet. We can also do information technology, and you'll see as we continue to add criteria, the number of results will continue to lower and be more specific to you. So we can also click on company size. Maybe we're targeting just the bigger companies. And now we've taken our list from 3 million people to 22,000 people, which still is a lot of people. That's certainly not the most digestible number, but why don't we go ahead and look at the search results just to see what it's giving us. So on the bottom right-hand side, you can go ahead, click on search. And now you are going to see all 23,000 people who are surfacing. One thing to note when creating these searches, 23K is entirely way too many. You want to make it a more digestible list. So my suggestion to you would try to narrow this down to about 200 to 500 people. And the way that you can do that is very simply on the left-hand side using our toolbar and the additional search filters that we can provide to you to make this more targeted and customized to you. So one of the things to note about LinkedIn is although it is a professional network, it is also a personal network. People put personal information about themselves, like where they went to school or what particular interests they have or what kind of charities they are currently a member of. So I would really encourage you to search for these commonalities. So when you reach out to people, you have these commonalities that you can chat with them about. So one of the things that I always recommend doing, and a lot of the users that I work with today have great success with, is searching by school. On the bottom left-hand side, you can go ahead, click into school, and here is where you can search for your school that you graduated from, possibly a rival college. In my case, I went to the University of Southern California. Oops, if I could even spell that. I would go ahead, click into it, and now my list of 23,000 people is going to go down to 79. So the beautiful thing about this list is not only is it completely digestible, it's very easy to sift through 79 people, but on top of that, I have something in common with all 79 of these individuals. So I don't have to create a personalized message for every single individual on this list. All I need to do is mention that I went to USC in one message, and essentially I can send it to all 79 people because that's what I have in common with them. So it will be personal to every single person I'm sending it out to. So this is a really easy way to be able to scale out your reach out to target a large group of people in a meaningful and purposeful way.
I'm just going to stop you right there. So amazing information, so thanks so much. For anybody who's new to WebEx, if you do have any questions, just scroll up to the top and hover over that little green button and then click on chat. So if you do have any questions, definitely chat them in, but we will have some time at the end as well. So just wanted to put that out there. So back to Julie.
No problem. So one thing to note as well is you absolutely want to save your search. This is obviously going to save you a ton of time. If you're making the search very specific to you as an individual, you don't want to have to recreate the search by having to type in the same keywords or search for the same title. So the way that you would do this is on the upper right-hand side, clicking on Save This Search. And then here's where you would title it CTOs that graduated from USC, and then you would actually set an alert on it as well. And these alerts are huge, and they are huge time savers, because what LinkedIn will do is anytime someone new joins the search, so if anytime there's a new CTO within the United States that graduated from USC, I'm actually going to get an alert saying that this is a new potential prospect for me. So this is an opportunity for me to reach out to them and introduce myself to them, because they hadn't previously been in this list before. LinkedIn is a living and breathing network. 2 new members join per second every single day. So the list that you've created is going to be changing every single day, and we will make sure to alert you on any changes so you can capture that opportunity. Also, take a look at our insights at the top of each page. We have spotlight filters over here. So this is another easy way for you to identify who you should be targeting within your list. I can see very quickly that 4 people changed jobs in the last 90 days. This is amazing, especially for those relationship managers out there. If any of these were your previous customers and they moved on to a new role, this is a good opportunity for you to reach out to them and try to capture their business at their new company. I can see that 13 people posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. This is also a wonderful reason for me to reach out to comment on their posts or like their posts or reach out to them to chat about their posts. And then I could also see that 12 people share the same experiences with me. So, of course, a lot of this is going to have to do with USC, but I can see that I belong to some of the same groups as these individuals. So this is also another talking point that I can bring up when reaching out to them to make sure that it's not simply a cold outreach, it's more of a warm approach. Outside of, finding and uncovering commonalities, I think one of the easiest ways to target this list and make it even more specific to you as an individual is by leveraging your relationships. So on the left-hand side over here, LinkedIn does a great job of breaking down how exactly you're connected into this specific list. You've obviously developed a huge network on LinkedIn. You probably have a ton of connections, so you definitely want to be able to utilize connections and get those warm introductions. I recently read a study saying a decision maker is 90% more likely to take a meeting if he's been introduced to that individual by one of his connections. So why not use your connections to get that introduction? It'll save you a lot of time, and it'll certainly increase your response rate. So the way that you'd slice and dice this list to make it specific to those common connections is by checking off second degree on the left-hand side. And then now my list goes down from 79 people to 21. So this is an extremely manageable list, and I hopefully should be able to get a meeting with at least 80% of these folks. So let's take a look at Aaron, for example. Aaron's the CEO at Fox. He's in my second degree. This means I have a shared connection with him. Obviously, I want to talk to the CEO. He's probably going to have a large influence on the buying decision. Like Kathy mentioned, there's 5.4 decision makers in the buying process. Aaron likely is going to be one of them. This is someone that I want to know information about. So I'll do my due diligence. I'll look at Aaron's profile. I'll see that he was recently mentioned in the news. I can see everything Aaron has recently published, his summary information, his experience, his education. Obviously, he went to USC, and he's particularly interested in tennis, piano, and zoos. Okay, great. This is definitely enough information for me to leverage when chatting with Aaron. But that being said, I want to be able to use my connections today to get an introduction into Aaron. So if we take a look on the right-hand side over here, you're going to see your warmest path into this individual. So we look at this example. I'm connected to Lexi. Lexi and I, actually, we went to college together. I know her well, and Lexi's connected to Aaron. I would have no way of identifying if Lexi had a relationship with Aaron because I don't talk to Lexi on a day-to-day basis. So unless we were randomly speaking and Aaron's name happened to come up serendipitously, I wouldn't know. But with Sales Navigator, it's allowing me to identify my relationships at scale. So instead of, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing where it lands, now I can appropriately target my efforts at a specific individual and ask for that introduction. So in this case, what I would do is pick up the phone, give Lexi a call, of course, ask her how she's doing, and then I would ask whether Lexi would feel comfortable giving me an introduction into Erin. So the way that you would go about asking for any referral today, that's exactly what I would recommend doing on Sales Navigator. Depending on the strength of your relationship, if you feel comfortable picking up the phone, sending them an email, that's the absolute way I would recommend asking for that introduction. And then, once I've identified Erin as my main point of contact, I want to make sure I save Erin as a lead. So this is really what helps strengthen and customize your experience on Sales Navigator, because by saving Erin as a lead, this means that I am going to proactively be stayed informed on Erin. On LinkedIn.com, everyone who shows up in your newsfeed, those are only individuals that you are connected to today. On Sales Navigator, it doesn't matter that I'm not connected to Erin. You can see that he's in my second degree, but because I'm saving him as a lead, I now have the ability to see anytime Erin's mentioned in the news, anytime he has some sort of post on LinkedIn, anytime he has a work anniversary, anytime he has a job change, and this will be served to me through that news feed, so I can react on this information. So when an insight is surfaced to me about Erin, I can pick up the phone and I can congratulate him, or I can talk about the fact that Box had recently been mentioned in the news, and I want to chat about potential opportunities for him. So everything should be very purposeful and very meaningful with the insights that are provided to you through Sales Navigator. Every time you save an individual as a lead, the company that they work for will also be saved as well. In this case, it's Box. So moving forward, anytime Box is mentioned in the news or anytime Box has some sort of update, you will also see this information through your newsfeed. One thing I would all recommend and encourage you to take advantage of as well are these lead recommendations on the top of everyone's page. So this is going back to Kathy's point about 5.4 decision makers is in the buying process. You want to make sure that you're communicating and you're staying informed on those individuals who are going to have some sort of stake in the buying decision. LinkedIn is helping you very quickly identify who these individuals are. So in this case, you can see Dylan Smith, he's the CFO of Box, he's surfacing. Dan is the COO, he's also being surfaced as well. Karen's the SVP. These are all individuals that you should be saving as leads because you want to know what activity, what kind of social activity they're having as well, so you can be able to leverage this in conversation. All right, 2 common questions that I get about saving as leads is, do they know you've saved them as a lead? The answer to that is no, they will not know. This is just personal to your account. And then secondly, do they know you've been viewing their profile? And the answer is that will depend on your settings on LinkedIn.com. So the same way that you can set yourself to be fully visible, industry and title, or completely anonymous, that will communicate with your experience on Sales Navigator. So every time you save an individual, like I mentioned, the account will save as well. In this case, it's Box. If you want to see a list of all of the accounts, you can go ahead, click into the Accounts tab. All of the accounts that you have saved will be pulled up over here. These are all of the accounts that I'm going to get informed on that will populate in my newsfeed. If I want to take a deeper dive into my account, so let's say, for example, I'm a relationship manager and Box is one of my target accounts, and I really want to be able to identify who those decision makers are and what's happening within Box today. I'm really going to recommend that you look at this account page and you take a deep dive into it, because this is going to be able to provide you with all of the information and all of the individuals associated with the account. So the top portion is going to be individuals. The bottom portion is going to be insights. So you can see very quickly I saved Karen 2 minutes ago, and I can see that she just had a work anniversary. I can also see that she was just mentioned in the news. These are all good reasons for me to reach out to Karen. I can see that Dan shared an update. This is a great reason for me to reach out to Dan as well. But let's say, for example, I'm trying to multi-thread into a a different division and I want to find more individuals. First, start off at lead recommendations. Lead recommendations is going to help you identify individuals who LinkedIn thinks are within your target market. So the more leads you save, the smarter LinkedIn gets. So make sure that you continue to save all these leads because you're providing LinkedIn Navigator with more information about what's important to you. And we want to be able to streamline your workflow and almost make it more automated. So the way that you're going to help us do that is by making sure to save those leads. And then when you come to an account page, these lead recommendations should pretty much mirror exactly who you've been saving previously. But that being said, you want to take a deeper dive into this employee list. You can click on See All Employees, and then on the left-hand side over here, you would go ahead and you would slice and dice that list any which way that you would like, the same exact way that we did in Lead Builder. So if you're particularly interested in a specific seniority level, you just want the people with a higher title, like within the C-suite, you'd go ahead, check off CXO, and now it's going to be 45 people who are likely decision makers within Box. Your How You're Connected tab is going to show you exactly what that relationship section showed you. So who within this company today do you have a common connection with? And then Team Link is going to show you who within your Sales Navigator team at your company today has a connection into this company. So How You're Connected is going to allow you to use your personal network, and then Team Link is going to allow you to use your company's network. Every single individual that you save as a lead will be housed in this Leads tab over here. So you can see Dylan, Aaron, I've all just saved them, so they are filtering into this Leads tab. And you'll notice on the left-hand side, you can slice and dice this list any which way that you want. If you want to reach out to anyone on the network, you do have the option to do so through InMail. So if we take a look at Dylan, for example, he's in my 3rd degree. I don't have any of Dylan's contact information, but I certainly do want to be able to reach out to him. I don't necessarily have an individual who can introduce me to him, so I want to send Dylan an InMail. So the way I would do that is by going ahead, clicking into Send InMail, and this is where I would construct my message.
Awesome. These are amazing tips. Definitely hope people are taking notes. But if not, it's all good because we're sending out the slide deck. I think this is really where we want to share some of the best practices for InMail. And for any of you guys who are running a full desk who have done the recruiting side of it, you've probably heard the spiel, but it's always a great reminder. So in terms of 5 kind of key tips that I would always recommend when you're reaching out to someone. One is personalize. I think you guys got that point being in. It's, you know, find your commonalities and then personalize it. All this information that you have, so whether it's the school, common connections, places that you live, places that you work. People love commonality. Number 2 is build a conversation. So, you know, you don't have to ask for, you know, the job, the business right away, but you do have to get to the point. But remember, this is your first conversation. You know, you want to give them enough sizzle for them to pick up the phone and say, yeah, let's talk. Number 3, keep it shorter. So we think that under 500 characters is a suitable number. But the best thing to do is, you know, send a sample email to someone you're connected to, and then you'll see for them to, you'll see what it comes in as, right? Maybe it's a colleague in your office. And I think 57% of people are reading emails on their mobile devices. So take a look at it. Is it more than 2 thumb swipes? That's kind of what I've heard is the too much. So you're swiping through and it's a bit too much. So making sure that you're making it impactful and you're keeping it short. Number 4 is subject lines. So they do count. Making sure that you're being, you know, true to your personality, but making sure that you have some kind of catch on them that they do want to open your email. And the last piece of it is your profile, right? So they're going to see, you know, you're sending an email over, who are you? Who is this person? And the first place they're going to do is click on your profile. So that's where it gets to, making sure that your profile is set up to sell, right? So maybe if you've been in recruiting before, or maybe you just landed this new job and your profile is set up to be a candidate, I would say, what's your brand and what are you trying to put out there? So if you're trying to put out that you're a salesperson and you represent your brand and your product, making sure that, that maybe something about your company is on your profile, making sure that there's maybe there's a video that your company's put out, or just some collateral. But whatever is on there, these decision makers, these people that you're reaching out, will definitely go and check out your profile. So that's always something to consider.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. So just double-clicking on Kathy's point about the profile, profiles are obviously extremely huge, and also when you send someone an email, they have direct access to view your profile with a click of a button. One of the advantages of that for you is that you actually get access to see who's been viewing your profile. So from your home page on Sales Navigator, on the right-hand side, you'll see this option for who's been viewing your profile. You click into it. Now you're going to see the last 90 days of individuals. You will notice some will be full visibility, some will just be industry and title, some will be completely anonymous. Unfortunately, you can't unlock any of the anonymous members, but if you just want to see viewers with full visibility, on the upper right-hand side, go into viewers, members with full names, and now I can see all of the individuals who have been viewing my profile. This functionality is huge. One of the most checked pieces on LinkedIn is the who's been viewing your profile portion, so I would highly suggest taking a look at this at least 2 to 3 times per week. It's a great way to get a temperature check on anyone that you've been reaching out to. Perhaps you reached out to someone and they didn't call you back or message you back, but they viewed your profile. Well, clearly something resonated with them in that message, enough for them to view your profile. So, make sure to follow up with them. And then additionally, it's a good way to get inbound leads. Maybe someone's doing research on a staffing company and your name comes up and they view your profile to see what kind of services you provide. This could be a good opportunity for you to reach out to them as well and open up a conversation with them. From here, you can save any of them as a lead if you do find that this is someone you want to continue to stay informed on. And then when you go to your home feed over here, again, every single person, every single company, it's surfacing because these are individuals whom you've elected to stay informed on. So this is your customized and personalized Wall Street Journal. You should really care about every single piece of information that's being surfaced on here, and you should react on it, whether it is through a phone call or an email or an in-mail or whatnot. If you want to specifically focus on a certain type of update, you can filter those out on the left-hand side over here. So let's say, for example, I only want to know if any of my leads have been mentioned in the news recently, because this is one of the most powerful ways to reach out to comment on those news updates. I can filter out by lead news, and here I can see Aaron was mentioned, Mike was previously mentioned in the news, and Jeremy. So I would go ahead, send them a quick email about how I read the CBS article on getting a different set of laws, and I'd love to have further this conversation with Aaron. However, which way you want to approach it, but this is exactly LinkedIn's giving you a vessel and a reason to reach out. And that pretty much sums up how to use Sales Navigator. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, so while we're waiting for any questions to come through, just want to point out a few other things here. So I'm just going to show you where to get additional resources. We do have a learning center, so if you're more the type that just, if you want a quick tip sheet or if you just want to do a quick tutorial, just click on the help, the training and support. So training will get you right here to the Learning Center. And this is where you're going to get those little small bite-sized learnings, or sign up for any webinars, or get any of the communications that we're sending out. Or if you need a technical help, then you'll click on the support button that you see right there. So that's really where you're going to be getting any of the support you need. Obviously, your customer success manager, or if you have a sales product consultant, will be able to help you too.
One last thing to note as well on top of the Learning Center, everyone who has access to Sales Navigator also has access to a Sales Navigator app on your phone. So whether you have an Android or whether you have an iPhone, please do make sure to download the Sales Navigator app. It will be separate from the LinkedIn.com app, the same way that it is on the desktop. And everything that you have saved, all the companies, all of the leads, will come directly to your phone, so you can do your research at your fingertips, basically.
Good call out, good call out. A little bit of homework for you guys, just next steps, really. So for action items, so next time you're on Sales Navigator, or maybe you're on it right now following along, save at least 10 accounts. You know, just start there. If you're new to Sales Navigator, if you're not, you're probably way above that, so that's great. Number 2, save at least 3 leads per account, right? So making sure that you're really attacking all angles for that decision makers that we're talking about. Number 3, ask for 1 warm introduction per week. Really building your funnel up and making sure that you have those contacts. Giving them time to answer their emails too. Although that takes maybe a few days and it wouldn't hurt to follow up sometimes. And then number 4, leverage email at least once a week. I'm sure that using it, probably using it a little bit more. I hear a lot of salespeople use a combination where you're dialing in as well as sending an email, just really getting that footprint and that different data points for those people. So that's in terms of the next steps. And if you think of questions coming up, then we are definitely able to help you out as well. So if you have any questions, connect with us, send us an email. Julie and my information is on there. So we're just at the 40-minute mark. For anybody who has to jump, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Good luck using Sales Navigator. And we'll hang on for the next 5-10 minutes to cover any last-minute questions that come through the chat panel. Thanks so much.